Keir Starmer suffered a heavy defeat during the most recent Prime Minister's question session in the House of Commons. What began as an attempt by the Labour leader to challenge the government quickly turned into a stark exposure of his own inconsistencies. He appeared visibly caught off guard when confronted with facts and figures that directly contradicted his narrative, revealing the underlying weaknesses in his position. This was not merely a poor parliamentary performance, it was a full-scale political debacle. In today's video, we'll break down exactly what happened and explore the wider implications. But before we continue, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay informed about the latest developments in British politics. Let's take a look at the footage. The session began with one MP raising a very specific concern that his constituency has only one hospital, highlighting the growing disconnect between government plans and the real needs of local communities. From there, the discussion expanded to the broader state of the economy under Labour leadership. It was pointed out that since Labour came to power, inflation has nearly doubled, economic growth has halved, and unemployment has been steadily rising. These troubling indicators led to a pointed question. Is this what the Prime Minister meant when he claimed the economy was improving on social media? In response, the Prime Minister defended his government's record, stating that more than 500,000 new jobs have been created since the last general election. He argued that while the opposition focuses on relentlessly criticizing the UK, the government is focused on building a better future. He cited, as concrete examples, the recent Strategic Defence Review which will lead to the construction of submarines and create 30,000 jobs, the announcement from the company seizure promising 10,000 new positions, and tens of thousands of new jobs in the construction of social and affordable housing. However, the opposition quickly pushed back, dismissing those claims as a distortion of the facts. They reminded the Commons that unemployment has risen every month since Labour took office and that none of the policies implemented so far have succeeded in stabilising the public finances. A key example was the winter fuel payment. It was scrapped last year on the grounds of balancing the books, yet the national deficit has only increased and is now projected to be £10 billion higher than forecast in the most recent budget. The question posed was direct: how can the government claim to be balancing the books when the figures say otherwise? The Prime Minister countered with a detailed list of achievements: 4 cuts to interest rates, economic growth in the first quarter of the year, a £15 billion investment in local transport, expanded access to free childcare, social housing programs, and progress on strategic projects such as the Sizewell nuclear energy development. He also criticized the opposition for spending more time undermining these efforts than supporting them. He took the opportunity to point out the irony of Liz Truss, whose time in office was widely criticized, recently being brought on as an advisor to Reform UK. He reminded the public that key figures in the opposition, including the current Shadow Home Secretary, once praised Truss's budget as 9.5 out of 10. Even Keir Starmer, at the time, said the problem with her economic package was not the substance, but the way it was communicated. In a sharp escalation, the opposition leader accused the Prime Minister of hiding behind former political figures to avoid addressing his own track record. She branded him a coward for refusing to take responsibility for the consequences of his economic decisions, particularly the removal of the winter fuel payment, a policy the government now intends to reinstate without admitting any wrongdoing. She also condemned his dismissive and patronizing tone in Parliament. The official government response was that such decisions were necessary to plug a £22 billion fiscal black hole inherited from the previous administration. The Prime Minister claimed these tough choices had helped stabilise the economy, protect the triple lock for pensioners, worth an extra £470 a year for most, and reintroduce the winter fuel payment with clearer eligibility criteria. He also pointed to major foreign policy achievements, record investment in public services, and new trade deals as signs of a successful administration. But the opposition wasn't done. They argued that the entire government narrative was an effort to obscure the true state of the economy. They insisted that British families are bearing the brunt of poor policymaking, job losses every month, stagnant growth, and mounting tax pressures. They also criticized the controversial agreement with Mauritius, which is expected to eliminate income tax obligations and cost the UK around £30 billion. They questioned why British taxpayers should foot the bill while being asked to accept cuts in other areas. The Prime Minister defended the deal by stressing the strategic importance of the Diego Garcia military base, claiming its continued operation is vital to national security. He said the agreement had the backing of key allies, including the United States, NATO, India, Australia, and New Zealand. He noted that criticism came only from hostile states, Russia, China, Iran, and, notably, from Reform UK, which he accused of echoing anti-Western rhetoric. The opposition responded that their concerns had nothing to do with national security, but with the poor quality of the negotiation. They claimed that intelligence assessments had flagged the agreement as flawed from the outset, and that the economic consequences of government policy were clear and damaging: higher inflation, weaker growth, and rising unemployment. They cited specific areas such as Stoke, Grangemouth and Luton, where businesses are closing and jobs are vanishing. In closing, they accused the government of having lost all fiscal flexibility, of facing deep internal divisions, and of making unfunded spending promises, something ministers had previously vowed never to do. They ended with a blunt question to the Prime Minister: isn't it true that the country is now paying the price for having the wrong Chancellor, and that this government's priorities are fundamentally out of touch with what ordinary Britons really need? The Prime Minister's response was evasive and tinged with sarcasm. He simply suggested that the real mistake was making his current challenger the leader of the opposition. And with that, one of the most heated and revealing sessions in recent parliamentary history came to a close. In other significant news from the royal sphere, the British royal family, alongside Prince William, is currently channeling its efforts into preparing Princes George, Charlotte, and Louis for the institutional roles they are expected to take on as they grow within the structure of the monarchy. According to royal experts, this focus on education and preparation now stands as one of the primary priorities for the heirs' inner circle, taking precedence over any attempts to rebuild ties with Prince Harry, whose relationship with the family has remained strained since his departure. Harry, the Duke of Sussex, now 40, stepped back from royal duties in 2020 when he and his wife Meghan Markle chose to permanently relocate to the United States. Since then, Harry has concentrated on initiatives such as the Invictus Games, an international sporting event supporting wounded veterans, which has gained global recognition. However, Meghan has taken on a more prominent public role, particularly on social media, where she frequently shares updates about her personal ventures as well as glimpses into family life with their two children, Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. Meanwhile, Prince William has continued to take confident steps forward in his role as the future king. He has assumed an increasing number of responsibilities, both domestically and abroad, and is widely viewed as a central figure in the monarchy's generational transition. On the diplomatic front, he has represented the royal family at major international events, building relationships with world leaders and organizations on behalf of the crown, all while maintaining a strong commitment to social and environmental causes. Royal author and commentator Robert Jobson, known for his extensive experience covering the monarchy, recently highlighted the stark contrast between the paths taken by King Charles III's two sons. In an interview with Hello magazine, Jobson described William as a figure deeply focused on duty and responsibility, while characterizing Harry and Meghan as a couple more preoccupied with surface-level appearances and a continuous pursuit of media attention. He even went as far as describing the Sussexes' public content style as notoriously frivolous. One frequently cited example was a video shared online to mark Princess Lilibet's 4th birthday, in which the couple was seen dancing in a casual and playful manner, a clip that sparked mixed reactions. Jobson noted that while such content may generate strong engagement online, it does little, if anything, to contribute to the institutional legacy of the monarchy. He argued that this represents the key difference between the two brothers: one has embraced public service, while the other has chosen personal exposure. The commentator also emphasized that William approaches his royal role with great seriousness. Not only has he taken on new official duties following his father's accession to the throne, but he has also consistently demonstrated exemplary conduct aligned with the values of the crown. According to Jobson, William's behavior reflects maturity, dedication, and a clear sense of readiness for his eventual role as King of the United Kingdom. These remarks reinforce the growing public perception that the palace's main focus is now on ensuring the long-term stability of the monarchy through a well-prepared new generation, while relations with Harry and Meghan remain distant, with no clear signs of reconciliation. What do you think about the topics we've covered today? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to leave a comment down below. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more updates on the royal family, UK politics, and the issues shaping the nation. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.